So lastly, and this is going to be a short video, in the same way that I finished the Hume lectures with this little anecdote, I think it's kind of interesting to, again, draw a comparison between Hume and Kant. That in the last video for Hume, I gave this example of adultery, right, of infidelity. That for Hume, with the focus on emotions, passions, subjectivism when it comes to morality, that you're in a monogamous relationship supposedly, and you're going, it's okay, it's not great, it's okay, and then you meet somebody new, they excite your passions, your feelings, and you start to kind of, being like, I want to pursue this, right? And perhaps an emotional, sexual, physical sense, whatever the case may be. And so you start to kind of, deceive your partner, your person that you're in the actual relationship with, and start lying to them about where you are, who you're with. Okay? And I gave the example that, you're driving along, you're in the car, you're driving along to perhaps go meet up for the first rendezvous or whatever you want to call it with this new person. You're driving along, you have this variety of emotions because we're emotive creatures. You're driving along and you have this kind of moment where you say, maybe I shouldn't do this. This isn't right. Maybe I shouldn't do this. And when you have that moment, what it is you're doing is you're recognizing perhaps these truths that Kant wanted to elucidate. That we know how it is we ought to act, independent of experience. That even before you go through with the actual, I don't know, consummating of the affair, I don't know how to better phrase that, but before you actually go through with making the affair official, language is weird here, you have this moment where you think to yourself, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do this. Or you're struck perhaps with what's called, and Kant called it, the misery of reason. That reason kind of informs and inflicts and influences you in such a way that's uncomfortable, it's challenging. Because perhaps we do know how it is we ought to act. And then Hume's rebuttal, of course, is, well, if you still go through the affair, your emotions overrid your ability to reason. Right? And so we have this continual tension between emotivism and rationalism. And I think that it's really fascinating to consider, especially in the course of ethics and how it is we live our own lives. That I think a lot of us would try very, very hard to live these rational, kind of objective, thought out lives. But when we're confronted with decisions and confronted with positions that are difficult and are, sorry, I got distracted. But when we are confronted with positions and situations that are difficult and emotional, right, it's very difficult to separate that. It's very difficult to separate our rationalism from our emotion. So leaving you to think about that over the next couple of days, I think is really important. So good luck.